Chapter 9, Quantities and Costs. We're going to be taking a look at the Bighorn project again. So we're going to go ahead and open that up. And once we're inside here, I'm going to rotate the view around a little bit where I can see what I'm looking at. So we rotate it around and we see all these new objects that are out here. This is what you can get quantities and costs for. Newly placed objects. Then you go down to the bottom and you expand up the bottom portion of it, and there is a quantities tab, and on that tab is a refresh button or a calculate button. Once you hit that, it's going to calculate based on all those new objects that you have in your file. Okay, so it's not going to do lighting or cones, but it'll do all your new concrete and asphalt. The far right button goes out and shows you all the calculations that it used, the units and then the cost for all those items. Okay. That units and costs comes from the backstage over here, the quantities and cost location right there. And when you left click on it, the first thing you have is allowances. What do you have on your project and what percentage of that cost do you think goes into each one of these items? So if I say I've got 5% drainage, I've got 10% environmental traffic control, maybe that's 4%. Electrical, I'll just maybe leave that at 1% and don't change that. Signing and marking, 2%. And we're looking at roadway incidentals, maybe we'll bump that up to 20%. So anything that's check marked here, it's going to use. Let's say I don't have any electrical, I'll just uncheck it and it won't calculate it in the list. We also have a detailed cost. This is the price for all the other things in the file that it's going to look for. So roadway excavation, maybe 2250 is a little bit high for right now. Maybe it's 560. So we'll plug that in. Maybe for our fill material, $30 is what we have for cubic yard. Maybe it's only 12 right now. Rail information, we don't have any rail stuff in ours, so that won't help us or hurt us. Concrete pavement, how much per cubic yard is that right now? So we'll say it's $100. So I'm kind of lowering some of the prices, and we might up some of the other prices that are in here. And what it'll do is it'll recalculate everything once I get stuff put in. So as we scroll down the list, you'll see there's some rail stuff in here. We get down towards the bottom, and we'll be looking at the bridge information, so structural and retaining walls. So if we had any retaining walls out there, we could price those. Structures looks at bridge deck, so maybe a bridge deck right now is $1,000 per cubic yard. This isn't really how we figure our bridge information at MoDOT, but it might give you a good cost estimate for how much this bridge might cost, a particular bridge. You can rename all of the items if you want to, and that'll show up in the spreadsheet later if you decide to print one out. So we go back to our concept window now, and you can see that it has updated our cost from 59 million to 28 million, and that's because we adjusted all of our rates for the project. So we changed our rates, and that automatically changes it. Now we can export it out to Excel. So you click on the export to XLSX, and we can export that out, and that will open up the Excel spreadsheet for us and place it in here. Now you can, once it's in Excel, you can do whatever you need to in here. You could even write a macro that converts everything from cubic yards to something else, or whatever you want to do, but it gets that information out of ConceptStation for you to use. So that's the quantities and costs, and it gets you a good rough estimate of your project.